Hi folks, this is Probably the Old, and I wanted to thank you for joining me on this series, Lost in MystCraft, because I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be a lot of fun. There's a horrible, tragic story here that, what's more fun than seeing someone else slog through adversity? So I think you'll have a good time, because like I said, there's a high degree of woeosity here. Lots of woe. Anyways, so the story is, I am playing Minecraft, Feed the Beast, with the Magic World 2 mod pack, and been having a great time, or I was. Had a fabulous place in the overworld with 9 floors of towers, each floor with a different mod. So I had a floor for Ars Magica, Thaumcraft, Witchery. I was exploring all this world. It was fabulous. And one of the places I was exploring was, of course, one of the mod packs I was exploring was MystCraft, which I don't know if you know MystCraft, but the idea is you have these descriptive books that transport you into another age or world, and then you have a linking book to get back. So I was exploring a couple of worlds, being very careful to have my linking book so I can make sure I get back. And I'm unloading my stuff and putting it in my chests as it made sense. And in my chest, I see a descriptive book, and I think, oh, what's that? Don't recognize that book. And so I open it up and put it down on a bookstand and look at it. And, oh, that's funny. I don't recognize that age. I wonder what that is. And so what do? Like a dope, I click on it and transport into a new world without a linking book. And I've been stuck here ever since. This is actually about my second or third world as I'm trying to find my way out. This actually happens to be a very nice world. Some of the worlds I've been in have been not very nice. And so what I'm trying to do is get home to my fabulous place, and the way I think I can do that is with a star fissure. So in MystCraft, there are these big holes in the ground called star fissures, and those star fissures allow you, if you jump through them, you will transport into the overworld. That's one of the ways in which you can get back. So really what I'm doing is looking for star fissures. As you can see, I've been in this world a fair bit. I've done some pretty good exploring. As I said, this is a pretty nice world. There's not a lot of mean mobs. There's a fair number of resources. And as you can see, I've already collected 22 diamonds here, which is pretty good, and it wasn't that hard. So I'm going to explore, but the problem is I can't find any star fissures. So I'm looking all over the place, exploring, and the biggest thing that I've had a problem with is food and maps. So I made myself a little garden where I'm growing sugarcane, even a few raspberries, some wheat, and some watermelons. And that's my little house. So, before we head out, let's try another world. Let's explore this one a little bit more. I want to show it to you a bit. It's a really nice world. There are lots of bamboo, which is cool stuff. Bamboo, one of these nice is it all falls down from above, which is very handy. Just got to hit the bottom one and cool, huh? Lots of bamboo. The only thing that's difficult about this one is the grass is tall. So you'll be walking along, and next thing you know, you bump into a skeleton or a creeper or something. So most of what I want to do now is just show you around a bit, and one of the things that was nice about the mod pack I had in particular is I had some pretty cool spells. This one is a lighting spell, which is very handy. what I really want to do is find some mimicite so I can show you guys a cool trick. Get a few more resources. So part of the problem is I don't have any of my loot from my mod pack. Oops, don't dig down. So, you know, if I die and I lose these spells, I am sunk. I've already lost one of them. I had a digging spell. This other spell I have is a drown spell, useful against mobs. What I really want is mimicite. There we go. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but one of the things that's nice about it is if you have like some coal or diamond or something, you can put it in your crafting bench with whatever you want to make more of, and it will duplicate it for you. But there's even more gooder stuff you can do with it. I think it's really cool. Well, I'll show you. Part of what I'm doing, I want to make sure I have enough resources for the next world I end up in. Because some of the worlds I've ended up in have been quite unpleasant. So, as I said, I think the best way out is to find one of these star fissures. Star fissures are these huge caverns in the ground that allow you, if you drop into them, you will transport back to the overworld. But the problem is, not every MystCraft generated age has a star fissure, and I've yet to find one. Let's check, see where I am. And it's getting dark, which means the mobs will come out. But like I said, this place hasn't been all that bad, mob-wise. Lots of taint. Taint is something from Thaumcraft. It's apparently magic gone bad, and it spreads, and if you step on it, it can hurt you, depending on what you step on. These little glittery things. Hear it? Oh, see that stuff? If you step on that, sometimes it'll... Ow! See? I got a flux taint. Oh! Not too bad, but don't make a habit of stepping on it. Lots of horses here, but I've not been able to find any saddles. Well, the other thing that happens is, you see, there, see it? That's a tainted cow. They get mean and will attack you. And this stuff is great. This is it's got me. Stop that. get out of here while we can. Here we go. Doesn't look particularly interesting. So, one of the things I was thinking I would do on these episodes is talk about the kind of stuff that I've been reading, because I like to read a lot. A whole lot. You know, I'm sitting here in these MystCraft ages, unable to get out. So, what do? I lay in my little bed there and read. Wait until I can record another video for you guys. And, so right now, what I'm reading is Aristotle's Ethics. In part because to get out of here, I need to find a star fissure. And the only way to find a star fissure, if I'm in a place that doesn't have one, is by going to a new age. And the only way to get to a new age, at least that I'm aware of, is to spawn in a descriptive book. Where'd that flux taint come from? Stop that. Where is it? Taint tendril. Huh, I wonder where it is. It's to spawn it in, which to me, frankly, I mean, that sounds like cheating. And Aristotle's Ethics talks a lot about how it is that we should behave and why we should do the things we do, why we should do the right things. And believe me, it is hard reading. Apparently, these were Aristotle's lecture notes, so it wasn't even written as a real book. And so it's kind of, and, you know, Aristotle just wrote in a style that was very dense and difficult to read. So, it's hard reading. But it is really interesting. Hello, creeper. You're fast enough, noob. Ah! What's that? Oh, that's crystal. See, that's my big complaint, is I'm too slow at shifting various, between my various options. So anyways, Aristotle was a Greek philosopher who lived around, he was born around 300 BC, a long time ago. And he was a really interesting guy. He was really smart. He wrote about everything. He wrote about medicine, he wrote about physics, he wrote about biology, he wrote about ethics, politics, you name it. He wrote about everything. And he was actually, all right, I should step back here and give you a sense of who he is in relation to the other Greeks. Turns out, around this time, there were three big Greek philosophers. Socrates, who was the first one, and who's that? That looks like somebody. I'm suspicious. Is it? No, that's just me being afraid of shadows. So anyways, Socrates was the first guy. He was very interesting. He was smart. He was kind of annoying. And what he did, which was really interesting, was he really kind of shifted everyone's thinking in terms of philosophy from trying to figure out how the world worked to how it is that we should behave. And a lot of ways he was incredibly influential because of that. And so a lot of people are... but the disadvantage of him was that he did not write anything down. And it was his student, Plato, who wrote most of what we know about Socrates. There was a few other guys who wrote about him, but Plato was the one who really wrote a lot about his philosophy, and he wrote these things called dialogues. which are kind of conversations, supposed conversations that Socrates had with various people, and they explore different things like justice, like, you know, you name it, and love, friendship, trying to explore what it is. And he had this model where he would talk to folks and ask them what they thought about something, and they would give what they thought was a reasonable answer, and then Socrates would just tear it apart and make him look foolish, which didn't win him any friends, and eventually everyone got tired of him and made him drink hemlock and killed him. So how's that for a lesson about being annoying? And so his student Plato wrote these dialogues about what Socrates and his students talked about, and they're actually pretty good reading. They're not too constipated. And the problem is, Plato was a philosopher as well, so it's sometimes kind of hard to tease out what Socrates thought versus what Plato thought, because it's Plato writing about what Socrates claimed to be thinking. So anyways, Aristotle was Plato's student. And Aristotle was a really smart guy. As I already mentioned, he studied all sorts of different things. And he wrote a lot. And he wrote in a very confusing, constipated way. But one thing about Aristotle was he was incredibly influential. Throughout the medieval ages, everyone listened to what he had to say, or read his stuff and commented on it, in part because it kind of fit well with Christianity. And one of the things that he talked about was, or that I'm reading right now, is about his ethics, where he's kind of getting at the question of how should we behave, and how do you live a happy life? And one of the things that he says, which I agree and like, is he talks about how to do good and be a good person, you need to practice it from a young age. So, and he argues that, you need to learn this from your parents. As a matter of fact, the book I'm reading is called the Nico Ethics. Why? Because his father and his son were both named Nicomatus or something like that. Nicomachean Ethics, there we go. Gotta get my tongue working this morning. So, in that, he says that you need to practice being good, and you need to make it a habit, just like any other kind of habit. So let's imagine, you're trying to learn how to play an instrument. You get good at it by practicing it a lot. And he says it's the same thing with ethics. You need to kind of make it part of your life and just do it all the time. Which he's a little bit harsh about. At some parts he talks about how, if you haven't learned how to do this, you're pretty much sunk. And shouldn't even bother trying, which, that just seems a little harsh to me. In all honesty, I think it is something you should always work on. Because, you know what? We're not perfect. And, whoa. We're not perfect, and we make mistakes, and what do? You gotta learn from them. One of the things that Socrates said was that the unexamined life is not worth living. Which again seems a little harsh at times. If you're not gonna be a philosophy major, I don't think you should commit suicide or something stupid like that. But I do think that there is a lot of value to spend time thinking about what you do and why you do it. That's where I just came from. Good grief. And oh, sheep. Excuse me. There are a couple of skeletons around here. Oh, those guys scare me. That's a mana creeper. I don't like those. So the problem with the mana creeper is when they go off, they will destroy all my magic ability, and then I won't be able to do these spells again, and I'll be that'll be bad. That'll be bad. So I run from them. So where was I? Talking about Aristotle. Oh, why didn't that one work? Is it dead? So anyways, Aristotle, all right, I need to find some new spot. I think I'm getting lost here. Just exploring the same holes. Whoa, I hate it when that happens. Let's head up that way. So Aristotle, was a smart guy. And like I said, he was a classifier, so he liked to put everything in their little bins. And that worked well for things like biology, where he would, you know, classify things kind of pathologically, actually. And so he also does a little bit of that with his ethics. He talks about how there's, you know, this ethic and that ethic, and they fall in these categories and all that kind of stuff. Which, you know, I don't know. I'm less interested in having some kind of complete 100% correct definition of all the different kinds of ethics there is and how you should behave, and more interested in, well, you know, just kind of exploring some of his ideas, which are interesting. So it's like I said, one of those things is you got to practice ethics. And, you know, this really resonated well with the Christians, well, in the Middle Ages. And there we go. That's what I'm looking for. They liked this idea of needing to practice it and practice good behavior, basically. That seemed to kind of resonate well with them. And like I said, everyone kind of thinks this way, even today. There's a lot of people who think this way. So I was watching a Doctor Who episode the other day, and David Tennant was talking about how, I forgot who he was talking to, but explaining how, you know, when you kill someone, how it really changes your soul and eats away at you, which I really believe. And I think it's that whole thing of practicing good behavior. And the whole reason why I'm blabbering about this is because, you know, what am I doing? I'm talking about, is it right for me to spawn in a book so I can get the heck out of here and find a new world and try to get out. Well, granted, that's not as earth-shattering as murder. Aristotle would argue even those little things make a difference in terms of practicing right and good behavior. So I've been wringing my hands and thinking about the ethics of spawning in a book. And then realized, well, gee, it's kind of silly. What do I do whenever I see a mob? The first thing I do is kill them. So, but I suppose that's a little bit, that's self-defense, right? Exactly. So that's justifiable. But on the other hand, if I don't spawn in a book, this is going to be a really boring series of me just wandering around this one particular world. Which is a fine world and all, but it's, to be frank, it's, as you've seen, it's beautiful, it's nice, there's a lot of resources, but there's no tension, no bad things happening. It's too nice. In contrast, the previous world I was in was really nasty. It was interesting, but it was very nasty, very, lots of bad things in it. And so that would have made for a good series. All right, what do we got here? Good, 12. So this is Mimicite. And if you take this stuff and do this, you get a mimic orb. And you take those mimic orbs and you do this, you get a mimic block. And you take a mimic block, and I think you have to put it on stone. And I need what I need to do is make a lever. I think you need to put it on stone. I don't think cobblestone will work. Let's see. Oh, I'll be dang. There we go. All right. Now, I want to show you something really cool. It takes a ton of Mimicite, and it takes a while to find it, especially if you're in a spot where there's not a lot of Mimicite. And I think there's a nice hole over here somewhere. You can do it on the ground, but I don't think that's as much fun. No, this will have to do. I think it works gooder if you're further deep. But plop that there, and then put that on it. Stand back and watch this. Huh. Didn't work. What did I do wrong? Alright, I'm going to have to do a little bit of research and figure that out. Maybe next episode I'll show you. So for that's been half an hour. What do you say we sign off? And I will see you next time, where we will make the Mimicite work and find a new age. Thanks very much for watching.